Heather. I am from Ironton, Ohio. I have about 2 years and 3 months in recovery from all mood or mind altering substances. Today I am a sister, I am an employee, I am a friend, I am a wife, a mother. I get to be these things because today I am in recovery.
Absolutely. Well, thanks so much for joining us. If you could start off by sharing a bit about your childhood.
But now I look back on it and I look at it different, but then I didn't think I was loved enough. I thought no matter what they did for me, it was never enough. When I was about 13, I found out that I was adopted. I had the mother, but the father had adopted me, and I actually was raised by his parents. So, and I found like little things to indicate that I was, somebody else's kid, my different last name, stuff like that, and they lied to me. So, moving forward, I had an excuse to be a butthead for years, and I utilized that for a long, long time. I started showing out when I got into it with the wrong crowd. I started hanging out with all the kids that did what they wanted. The first time that I drank, I got alcohol poisoning because I couldn't stop. If I would have been educated at all about like what it was, I would have known. I don't know that I would have stopped because it was still fun, but it was like, I felt like I fit in my skin for the first time. And then I didn't drink for a long time after that because I got alcohol poisoning. But I had tried other substances, and like I just, I'd get paranoid or anxious or whatever. It wasn't until like I was probably 19, I got in a car accident, and at that time in this area, the pill mills were going around, and they prescribed me a very large amount of pain medication for a child of 19. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I ran with that, and it just increased, got worse.
So at that time, because we've been talking a bit about the pill mills and how much it has really devastated this part of the country,
Yeah.
into West Virginia and Kentucky and whatnot as well. Did you with having the prescription, was it kind of perceived as you needed it and this was normal, and that this was, or was there suspicion around it, or did you know, this guy, I'm just using it because I want to use it?
No, I was really naive.
Okay.
I really, the doctor gave it to me, I took the way I was supposed to. I didn't realize there was a problem till I stopped. I tried to not take it. I believe my boyfriend at the time, I think I might have given him some or given his uncle some, it was something like that. And so I was out until my prescription came back in, and then I was sick. I didn't even know what any of that was. That was not the life that I knew. And I kept saying I wouldn't touch any intravenous anything. I would never do that, never do that. And I was really sick because the medication that we were taking previously, now it was much stronger. And I just said no. And then he came back to the house and he said, this is all I could find. And there was a syringe. And I was so sick. I was just like, yeah. And I immediately was fine. And that was it. That's all. From that point on, that's all I did. It wasn't.
And how long, excuse me, how long did that last for?
Probably 15 years.
Wow.
15 years.
It's a long time.
Everything changed once I started doing that.
So can you talk about how your family relationships were impacted, employment, and how your physical health was impacted?
My employment, he ended up going to jail, and I left the state for a while to try to clean my act up. But wherever I went, So I worked for a long while, and then my disease caught up with me, and I started using again, and the employment aspect was completely gone. And my family, like they heard like what was going on or whatever, but when they talked to me on the phone, they weren't physically there, so they didn't know what was happening, you know. And then it was in and out of institutions. I was going back and forth into jail, and it wasn't until I moved back up here that I started doing good again. And then I had to do something different, but I didn't know how to do that, and I just kept bouncing back and forth into addiction. And then I got in trouble up here, and now during that time though, I barely talked to any of my family. Like my sister wouldn't talk to me anymore. I think my sister had went to like a support group to know how to handle it, because she handled it across the board exactly the way you should. She didn't indulge. She didn't send me money. They barely answered the phone for me anymore, like, because they knew that I was just wanting something. And today that relationship is really, really good. But like for a long time it was, and I was very alone. And the more isolated I was, the easier it was to do the things that I said I'd never do. And then when I moved back up here, I got in trouble on some charges, and that put me in a program, and it showed me how to live in the world amongst normal people that didn't have, you know, because I wasn't ever really educated on my disease for years. And then when I didn't hear about it and what it was, I didn't think I was one of them, you know, like I thought I was the exception. I had that, they call it a terminal case of uniqueness, you know, and I thought I was that person, you know, like I didn't understand why it was okay for this person over here to do this, but then when I did it, I'm going to jail, I'm not stopping for a week, you know, like, and they get to go home and go to bed. Like, why? It wasn't until like around that time that I was educated about my disease through a 12-step fellowship. And those people taught me a lot more than what I wanted to know, really, because the more ignorant I didn't have I had an excuse. I didn't know. But the more educated I became on it, the better I got. So
what happened that you 2.5 years ago, or 2 years ago and 4 months, that you decided, I'm going to do something different?
Well, I got sober in 2011, 2012. And when I did, I met this guy, and we had 2 kids together, and I was sober during this time. And then he relapsed, and instead of me leaving, doing the things that I knew I did, I stayed. And my disease, I ended up relapsing, and now I have kids. So my kids were a huge motivator. You know, like they tell you all the time, like you can't stay sober for your kids, but I'll tell you what, I had to do something. You know, my kids depended on me. So that was a huge motivator for me to get sober. Now, CPS had came in and took my kids from me, and I got real loaded, and I drove my car and I got a DUI. And that DUI put me into jail, and I asked for the drug court program, and because I knew it had saved my life one time, and I knew it would do it again. And they accepted me, and I've been sober ever since.
That's super cool. So going through having drug court and CPS, sometimes they agree with the things you're supposed to do, and sometimes it's double the things you have to do. So how did you work with both of those programs to be able to retain custody of your children?
I had to be prepared to go to any length. Whatever they asked of me, if it was fire rings, I would have jumped them. Because like at this point, I had to humble myself enough with no ego, no pride involved, and do what was asked of me. And I did. And like they saw the strides that I was making, the things that I was doing, anything and everything they asked of me, I was completely honest, like whatever you need, I did it. And it was months, and CPS was out of the picture because they saw, I was very transparent with them too. I have absolutely nothing to hide. Whatever you need, cool. Like whatever you want me to do, that's fine. Mm-hmm. And they because CPS ultimately, yes, they push a lot of people into doing things, but ultimately they want families to be together. You know, I don't see them as an enemy or a, they just wanted my kids to have the best.
So, you know, being in recovery and really rebuilding this life, you know, getting your family relationships and your employment, doing all the right things, it's kind of the miracles of recovery that we get. But a lot of times the outside world still doesn't necessarily see or have the experience. So have you experienced any stigma in recovery? And if you could talk about that.
I love breaking that stigma. I love talking to people that don't know that I'm in recovery and just talking to them and like letting them get to know me and then telling them how much I got sober. Because I think that's the way, letting them see there's the other side to the disease of addiction. There is the recovery side. Because unfortunately, when we are in addiction, a lot of us steal and we lie and, you know, we do all of the things that we do. And we're not those people, you know. We're running on just survival mode, and unfortunately, that's what people see. So it is good when they see us out in the community. It is good when they see us volunteering our time, just trying to help out or just being kind. You know, I do not tell people like what 12-step fellowship I'm a part of, but if I'm the only representation of what recovery looks like, I hope I represent it properly, because it saved and changed my life without my permission. Thank God. You know, so when I see those things, I don't get angry. I don't get angry because that's stuff that we caused, you know, but I do try to change their mind, and you change people's mind through kindness. And I know a lot of people get angry but we did that, you know, we did that to start that. So the way that we change that is through love and kindness. And that's pretty much how I try to do everything, you know?
Right, yeah. And that's the best way to be able to move forward, because, you know, arguing with somebody is not going to change their mind, but leading by example and being able to show people.
Lead by example.
This is a different way. So,
yes.
If you could talk, so during your active addiction, did you experience any type of physical or mental health complications?
I had been putting myself in very dangerous situations for a long time, and I had been beaten, I had been raped, I had been molested as a child by a neighbor. You know, there was things that I just bottled up and I never let anybody know. So I had severe PTSD that was untreated, ADD that was untreated, you know, because, and all of those things, I worked through most of them with the 12-step fellowship. But the ADD part, like, it wasn't, I had been functioning on it so long using drugs, like I'm good, you know. And then when I got sober, it wasn't until recently that it became like, I'm gonna have to do something about this, because of, it was just, you know, the longer I had sober, the more prevalent it became, and I was just like, I need to do something about this. So, you know, my mental health is very important. I think that most of us start using because we are self-medicating due to an undiagnosed mental illness. You know, like, you got to do it for the long haul.
Yep.
So that's very important.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so are there so, you know, as you said, we all have struggles, we all have, you know, challenges that we go through. Are there some words of hope or inspiration that really speak true to you that you could share? Kind of those go-to cliches that we hated at the beginning, but that just really kind of speak to us.
Oh my gosh, there's so many that just popped in my head all at once. Don't forget to look up always worked for me. And I'm not even like religious, but one of my old sponsors, the last time I relapsed, she was sitting in the parking lot waiting for me when I came out, and she was like, don't forget to look up. And I was just like, and in that moment I just like, and it was just like, what? And I felt it, you know? Yeah. So I don't know if that was just like a symbolic thing, but it was, it worked, you know? And just one day at a time, you know, like, just don't stop, even if it's baby steps, one day at a time. So that's.
And you would think that as people who lived from the next fix to the next, that would be an easier concept for us, and it is not.
It isn't.
It really, we want
Future
everything
trip.
now.
Yes.
So-
Instant gratification still
Yes.
in things. Now
Yes.
it's life, you
Yes.
know. Want everything right now.
Yeah.
You know, I knew that things were different this time because I just started taking things as they came. I didn't get upset if it didn't happen. I just let it happen as it's supposed to, because everything is happening. Everything happens for a reason. So like as it comes, like I can accept it, and if it doesn't, it wasn't meant. And I'm cool with that today. Like there was a long time like I'm trying to fix, manage, and control every situation, and now it's not so much like that. It's a blessing.
Absolutely. Is there anything that we missed that you would like to talk about? Well, thank you so much. Your story is one of inspiration and just really that pure joy. I mean, you said about, you know, just feeling happy, that you resonate joy. And that is a beautiful thing to be able to see and to be able to experience, to be around you is wonderful. And I'm guessing, you know, some time ago that wasn't what most of the people in the world was going to say about you. So
No.
Thank you for sharing your story. It's definitely going to help somebody who needed to hear it.
Good. Thank you so much.